Nice work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try.
Okay.
Working 7 to 3.
Of the Working Lunch, I'm Jeff Turgeon from Mass Hire Central Region Workforce Board.
And I'm Bruce Mendelson, also from the Central Region Workforce Board.
So we were supposed to have Michaela Tucker Davis, another, you've been filling in, you filled in for me last show with Michaela.
Right.
And the plan was for you to stay on with Michaela again, but then she had to back out.
I'm a poor substitute for both of you.
Well, you know what? We're happy to have you, and you came. It's the holiday season, so I've got my red, and you've got your festive hat on.
Yes, this is my Christmas yarmulke.
Very interdenominational. Love it. So how you doing?
Look, it's good. I love the winter. I mean, today's winter solstice, the shortest day of sun of the year, but you know, I love the winter. I love to ski.
Yeah. Well, and one cool thing that you get to turn your passion into paying it forward by working with kids at South High School and with the administration over there and Craig Early, who's a program administrator. Why don't you talk a minute about the ski career skills program you have?
Yeah, sure. So we are able to take several, I think this year it's 35 kids from South High School up to Wachusett once a week for 6 weeks starting January 3rd. And we proceed that journey to Wachusett with a 20 or 30 minute life/career skills lesson.
So you do the work readiness stuff,
Right.
And then they implement that while they're out there networking and really experiencing something that, all said and done, probably wouldn't necessarily get to do if it
they
wasn't
like
for this
it.
class. Yeah.
Yeah, they like it. We have a couple kids who are repeating from last year, so I went up there and had a meeting with them. And this year we actually have a couple deliverables that we're going to make sure that the kids do, and that's one is a resume, like a cover letter template, and then we're going to do mock interviews. So we're inviting people in. So our guest here may come in to do mock interviews too, if he's amenable to that, and then you and some of the chaperones.
Sure.
And
Well,
some
that's
other
probably
folks.
a perfect segue to have our guests come in.
How's it going, guys?
Welcome. We have Officer Casey Onuigbo.
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 The G is silent.
I was so close.
It's all right. It took me a while when I was growing up.
And you are now the diversity officer for the Worcester Police Department.
That's correct.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and about how you joined the Worcester Police Department. Let's start
Sure. My name is, again, Casey Onuigbo. If you're wondering, I'm Nigerian. That's the reason, yeah. I was originally born in Boston. I moved to Worcester in 2005 for college. I attended Worcester State University.
Criminal justice?
Yeah,
fellow
CJ Major.
Lancer alum myself.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. We don't really have a slogan.
I was in college back then. I didn't make it to the university. I had to wait for me to leave to get that accreditation. So you came in and then you just stayed
I
here?
came in. I did eventually transfer over to CJ, but for the first 2 years I was undecided. So I was in that position in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was working as a security guard, and I came into contact with a Worcester police officer who's a lieutenant now. His name is Jimmy Johnson. Said he saw something in me, encouraged me to apply, and I mean, I'll be honest, at first I was reluctant. I was like, policing, is that something I really want to do? But I'm glad we developed a friendship. He encouraged me to apply, and I did, and I'm here now, and this is the greatest job on earth, so no regrets on my end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm curious because, we all have mentors who play really indispensable roles in our lives. And we only see that with the benefit of hindsight. So my question to you is, he saw something in you, and now that you're several years into your career, do you know what he saw? Have you ever asked him what he saw?
I think maybe because he saw me working as a security guard, and I was always respectful to him. He talked with my boss, and my boss spoke very highly of me. Probably just told him that I was always showing up to work on time, very reliable, wrote good reports. I think those are some of the qualities that, as far as right now, some of the qualities that we look for with new police officers.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So you said you were doing security work.
Yes.
And you were kind of undecided with your major.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what some of the deciding factors were in your decision to become a police officer? And I ask this question because many of us kind of just fall into what we do, but it sounds like yours was a conscious decision.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the factors that played into
Sure.
that?
Like I said, when I was undecided, I was trying to look around to, things like business, and I didn't really have anybody in my family who was in that field. I have a lot of people in my family who are in the medical field, but I was never really good at certain sciences. So I was like, okay, that's probably not a good fit for me. I realized that Lieutenant Jimmy Johnson was very proud of what he was doing as his career, and he always shared a little, all his war stories, for lack of a better word, as what he usually does on patrol. So to me, I was like, I do like action. I like certain things like that. So I was like, maybe this would be a good thing for me to at least learn about it and see if it would be a good thing for me to get into. And the more I talked with him and realized that not only was he able to be that person where he could help families, he could also help his own family and get enough money to, make moves in his own life. So I admired that. And that was one of the other motivating factors that spoke to me, was like, you know what, let me give this a shot, take the exam, and see where things go. And I'm glad I did it. So,
Nice.
yeah.
So in your role now, you do recruitment?
Yes, I started off after the police academy and patrol, and I think around May was when I was
How many years was
transferred.
that? Like, can you give us an idea of
For
the
patrol?
timeline? Yeah, so when you graduated from the police academy,
Yeah.
like what year was that? And then you did X for some years in this.
Yeah, sure, I can elaborate. So I first became a police officer back in 2011. I was a campus police officer for Assumption College.
Okay.
And then I was there for 2 years, and I transferred over to the city of Worcester. Not really transferred, but I had to do the training all over again. But yeah, so it's going on like 12 years now that I've been a police officer, mostly on patrol. I had a lot of fun on patrol and everything, but now I'm in the role as a recruiter / diversity officer. So,
What's your typical day like as a recruiter? What is that? I imagine you get out to schools and stuff.
Yeah.
Or,
First, he irons the uniform like 5 times.
well, yeah, I mean, it's not as
I would not be.
really sharp. I mean,
I should
I
he
looks
looks like a
appreciate it.
recruiter. He really does. Like, I want to sign up.
dog hair.
My typical day is usually meeting with a lot of organizations in the city of Worcester. Some of them are like Human Resources, Church Clergy Alliance, the Human Rights Commission, and a few others. We meet very periodically just to talk about ways that we can help bridge the gap, create a better relationship between the police and the community, because people need to realize that we need the community to do a lot of things. Without their help, we can barely do anything. Okay, so on top of that, now that we're hiring, I'm also very busy and trying to do some of the things that you mentioned, the career fairs. I even did the mock interviews that you spoke about. I'm surprised I didn't see you there, but it was at South High, right?
No, we're gonna they may have done some other ones, but
Yeah.
we're scheduling ours for I think February.
Okay.
So I'll call on you again.
Yes,
since I know your experience.
yeah. I
Gonna
gave you
make
my
a note.
card, so
Gonna make a note.
let me know, email me or call me. I'll definitely be there, because the one that I did at South High was it went very well. It was nice engaging with the young students, because of course I can identify with that, because I used to be their age, and I love giving them advice to let them know how to be successful when they get out in the real world after high school. But on top of that, I go to the career fairs, middle schools, high schools, and other community events, just to pretty much encourage them to apply, take the test, see something in someone, and let them know that they can make a difference if they choose to go that path. And even if they don't, I'm here. Ask me questions. Even if it's difficult, I'm here to answer whatever bothers them or concerns them.
How many recruitment officers does the Worcester PD have? Are there 2 of you?
It's me and my sergeant. His name is Sergeant Angel Miranda, and we have other officers who are in the department who assist us in different roles as well when we go out to the community or these colleges or high schools.
I mean, I imagine though. I mean, it's a job that isn't necessary for everybody, right?
No,
But,
yeah.
but what is it you think makes a good, like, what would make a good candidate? If there's a young person with certain qualities or certain things that they, like what should they, like, how would they know if they're fit for that?
Well, yeah, and my follow-up to that is, so they're tangibles, they're requirements, right? So talk about those, and they're intangibles.
Okay.
Yeah, well, good, yeah.
So in order to, yes, qualify to become a police officer, you have to be under a certain age. You have to be between 21 to 31 years old.
Just missed it.
Yeah. You have to have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. You have to be a resident in the city of Worcester.
You can have a GED though,
Yes,
or
yes,
high set or
yes,
whatever.
Yep,
Okay, great.
Yep. You have to have lived in the city for at least a year prior to the exam date. So the next exam is coming up in March, I believe 16th, around that time. So as long as you've lived a year before that, you're good. Okay. But
yeah.
the catch is
16th, right.
the last time to apply to take the exam is mid-January. So
January 16th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you sign up to take the exam in the first place. And then the last thing is you have to be a citizen of United States
Yeah.
or a naturalized citizen.
Capable, working.
Yes.
So it's similar to what we
Yes.
have
So
programs.
those are the things that we can't use.
So those are those hard and fast.
Yes. Yes.
And slightly different rules for veterans, as I understand.
Okay. Yes. So for a veteran, if you're over the age of 32, they allow you 4 years. So you can be up to 36
missed it.
years old.
Still missed
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. Because some people just don't know these things.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not going to be on the test.
What
by
about the
way.
intangibles? What's
The
some things-
intangibles, me personally, I think it's very important for people who have good morals, a good character. If you're naturally a person who just treats people respectfully, by all means, you're a good fit. If you're the person who comes into work who's hardworking and everything like that, you're a good fit. So those things are very important, as well as proper communication and good skills in writing as well. Because now, at this day and age, it's all about how you are able to articulate yourself and what you did and why you did it on police reports, so everybody can get an idea about why you acted a certain way.
Because they're public.
Yes.
Well, man, if there was a young person out there who maybe got into some trouble themselves, maybe they experienced it from the other side, but boy, a lot of those young people might have leadership skills, might have a good sense of handling themselves under pressure or whatever. Like, are they automatically shut out, or can you have like some experience in like as a juvenile and still be able to, as you're an adult or moving into an adult game?
I wish I could say yay or nay. I mean, there's some things that we can understand because we all know that we've all been young at some point. We all make mistakes, but the severity of certain mistakes.
Sure. So it's a case by case.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
case by case. If
Makes sense.
you had a party at 17, maybe caught with alcohol, is it the end of the world? Does that mean that this person's a bad person?
Right.
No. But anything where it's like this person has a history of possibly like maybe getting into fights. Or
Maybe you
bar
borrowed
fights or
like your
something.
aunt's car
Yeah.
and you went out for a night and you thought you'd get the car back.
Jeff, let's not
in
talk about your
time. I'm just saying stuff happens.
hypothetically.
It's a
I know a
hit you
guy.
and then-
record is expunged.
I'm
so
just-
nobody knows about
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Aunt Paulia.
So there's certain
again.
things that we are very understanding about, but then unfortunately there are other things that we just can't ignore.
That makes sense.
But if there's been a period of a time where you may have gotten into certain things as a young kid, but 10 years have passed. You've grown, you've learned from your mistakes. You're a hardworking individual, and we notice that. We talk to your peers, your teachers, your neighbors, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Jeff, he's a great guy." Then things like that would
Sure.
carry very well.
So what role, when you have a candidate who takes a civil service exam, gets selected right off the OML, do you as their recruiter have some influence or some role? Can you say, oh yeah, that's one of my guys, he's a good guy or a good candidate, or no?
I can always let them know that I've had a very good rapport with that person. But unfortunately, if they do find something in their background, no matter what really I say, it really can't help them.
No, what I'm talking about is in general. Let's set aside the record issue, but let's just say you have in that scenario that I just discussed, somebody comes up and say, oh yeah, that's one of my guys. He's a good guy.
It can bear a little bit of weight, yes. But at the end of the day, they still have to make sure that they go along through the process as fairly like everybody else.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks
Yes.
for that. Interesting clarification.
So what is the steps? So if someone, I'm sure there's people watching out there now that fall within the age, or maybe they have a relative, maybe it's their son or daughter or whatever. If they're interested, what should they do? What's the next step? Should they go online? Is there like how do you get? What's that first step for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people just don't know that, and it is a long process. I hate to admit it. It could take up to 2 years depending, but it all starts in at least first registering for the exam and signing up for it. It's about 70. It used to be 100. It's 75 now. They also have waivers for it for people who qualify. After you pass the written exam, that's when you get into the background process.
Okay.
In the background, they make sure that you are who you are, you live where you need to be living in the city of Worcester, and we want to also make sure that you have good morals and good character and good judgment. After that, then there's a drug screen, then they do a psychological exam, then after psychological, they do a physical exam, and that's where you do an obstacle course. They check and see that you can run a mile and a half in a certain time. You do your certain amount of push-ups and sit-ups or a plank, and then once you pass that, then you get into the 6-month police academy.
Okay.
And then after the 6-month police academy, you get your gun, your badge, you hit the streets, you go fight crime, as you say, right?
Take a bite out of
Take
crime.
a bite out of crime.
So that first step though was to apply for the civil service exam.
Yes.
And they should do that on. There's a state website, right?
But the website is mass.gov. That's mass.gov, G-O-V/civil service, all one word.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Share some advice or tips that you give people who are interested in joining the Worcester PD. From your experience or others, just some general stuff.
I usually primarily give people 2 tips. The first one is to make sure that they do research in law enforcement, to make sure that this is the type of field that they want to get into. Because like you said, it's not for everybody. And the second advice I let them know is to make sure that they get in shape. And the best thing about, even if you've never worked out before, when you start working out, progress comes fairly quickly. If I tell you to do a mile, right, you may not be able to complete that mile with, the first time. You may stop and start walking after a quarter mile. But maybe a month into it, you're like, hey, Case, I started doing a mile and now I'm doing it without stopping, and it takes you 20 minutes. And even though that may be long, you know that if you keep on continuing on with that, you discipline yourself and you diet and everything, before you know it, you cut that down to 15 minutes, and then from 15 to 12, 12 to 8, and you're a star, you're a superstar.
Lean fight machine.
Yeah. So that's always the 2 things that I encourage people to do, is just to do the research and to make sure that they are staying in shape, because when you do work out, you do feel better. You're confident about yourself, and even if you don't make it across to the whole process, at least you completed something.
So you mentioned a 6-month academy.
Yes.
And are they paid during that time?
Yes, that's also a very good question, because some people don't realize that while you're in the police academy and you're huffing and puffing and doing all this work, you're actually getting paid.
Yeah.
The salary isn't the best, but it is pretty considerable. It's about $46,000 a year. So half of that, whatever it comes up to.
So you're taken care of while you're in there.
Yeah,
Now,
you're taking care. You get enough money to get by, do whatever you need to do, take care of home.
I don't know if you've seen, when I was growing up, pretty popular were the Police Academy movies. Realistic, I don't know if you've seen them. Are they a realistic depiction of the Police Academy process?
They
did not age very well, do they?
You don't really see them on TV anymore,
No.
and there's a reason why.
No, they're not very realistic
That's
as far
okay.
as
You don't have to,
yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
He's like, let me
These
tell
are
you
the types of
it
hard-hitting
was,
questions
yes.
we ask
That's
on
exactly
the working
right.
lunch.
Yeah.
Right, so you better come prepared.
Because I just assumed that every academy had someone that did all the funny voices. Like that, right?
All right.
Anyways.
Yeah,
I have a serious question. That is
Yes.
that you talk about your appearance and everything, and in 2021 you were awarded 2 Distinguished Service Awards, right? In 1 year, and most law enforcement officers, according per my knowledge, may go their entire career without getting 1.
And the definition of that, I know you
Right.
you
It's
put it
given
here.
to, and I want to
let's
say
read
this.
that. Yeah,
'cause
let's
it's
read it.
important,
It
right?
is important.
And I know you'll probably downplay it, but the award is given to any member who performs an act worthy of merit in a commendable manner, such as saving the life of another person, when such an action may or may not have imperiled his or her own life and well-being.
Wow. So twice.
So do you mind sharing what you did to earn these awards, and how what you did informs what you do now.
I'm shocked you found that.
He did some research.
Yeah,
there.
I see that.
Got the whole dossier.
It's funny you mentioned that because the 2 medals that I have here are from that time. So in recognition of the work I did. But the first one was back in, I believe, 2017. I was working the northeast side of Worcester. You know Lincoln Plaza around that? Yeah, that's essentially where it was, where we got a call for a lady who approached another person and said, hey, I need help. My boyfriend injured me. And then before they could do anything, the same person left and went down a fielded area where some of the unhoused population live in tents and stuff. So I was obviously like, hey, why didn't this lady stay? Let's figure out where she is. So my partner and I got in that area and we got out our cruisers. We went on foot, traveled probably about 100 yards into the field, and we saw a blue tent. And that's when I started hearing someone yelling for help. And then I also walked closer and I heard another, like a man's voice say, you think I care about you? I'll kill you right here. So naturally, my alert's just going off. Open the tent, and I see a guy with his hands wrapped around the neck of a female. So I unholstered my weapon. I ordered him, some commands to stop what he was doing, exit the tent, took him into custody, and that was that's for the first medal here. The second time, that was in, I think, the very next year. There was a woman who called the police to say, hey, I think my uncle is going to kill himself. And of course, the dispatchers are asking more follow-up questions, and we learned that her uncle is going through a tough time and has tried to kill himself in the past, and was possibly in the area of some railroad tracks off of, I think, Grove Street, around that area, like all the way down there, which I didn't even know. I don't know if you know where I'm talking about at the very end.
Or
is
by
that
Plumley?
No, you know where Ararat Street goes all the way up?
Oh, yeah,
around
okay.
that area. So we go down there and we get out our cruisers, and we're looking around, and it's like late at night too, so we're obviously on alert. So we walk by a gate, and then we see the railroad tracks, and then lo and behold, we see a guy, and he has a rope around his neck.
Oh my God.
And I walked a little bit closer, tried to engage in conversation with him, and while I'm talking with him, I also look through my peripherals and see that there's like a 10 to 15-foot drop right below him where he's, trying.
That was where he's gonna,
end his life. So it was me and 2 other officers were all at the same time just trying to gauge the situation and talk with him, and I could tell that, he was in that dark space. So I didn't really want to hesitate too much longer, so I just ran up to him, grabbed him from behind his arms and everything like that, drew him away from the area, put him on the ground. We called the ambulance to come down, pick him up, and they took him down for him to get some help and everything. But what worried me after the fact was, wow, if she never called, we would have never known. And he would have been probably there for, so.
So, I mean, when you're out there recruiting, I mean, and I think maybe people understand it in like a vague sense, but boy, you really do get a chance to save people's lives and make such an impact in your community that, I mean, it's not just about, a paycheck or, I think a lot of young people, they envision their career. It's like, I think today a lot of young people want to make a difference in their community, want to have a job that means something. What better job to do that, right? And hey, let's face it, there's a lot of negative press out there.
Yes.
And this is an opportunity to tell there's another side of this that you're in a position to really have a positive impact on your community. What better way to have a positive effect on everything by being a part of the solution, right?
Agreed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. So you have the Distinguished Service Cross with an oak leaf cluster.
Yeah.
Right? do your buddies give you a hard time about that?
No.
No, they don't. All right.
No.
We're talking with Officer Casey Onuigbo.
Onuigbo, yes.
Onuigbo.
The G
I
is
did,
silent.
I did
Yeah.
it.
The
I
G
did
is
it better that
silent.
time. Diversity officer with the Worcester Police Department. Well, anything that we haven't covered that I know you get out into the community a lot, so hopefully folks will see you. Any events coming up you wanna highlight or anything like that?
Yeah, where can we find you? You know?
Sure. So I have another career fair that I'm going to next month, mid-January, I think the 16th or 15th.
There's one on the 12th. Are you going to the one on
Is
the
it
12th?
the Burncoat?
Yeah, Burncoat. 'Cause
I'm
I'll
sorry,
be there.
yes,
You're right.
okay,
And then
yeah.
there's one on like the 25th.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So I'll be there. I'll see you again.
Fantastic.
Well, among
And,
other things, Bruce is also we do a rugby career skills program. So sport of rugby, very it's stressful. A lot of those folks that come out of rugby are also probably good candidates for the force.
Oh yeah.
So
of course.
please, if you see some young people that might be interested, the varsity sport this year at the Worcester Public Schools, don't hesitate to send them Bruce's way to get involved with our program because maybe they'll come back to you
All right.
on the professional side.
But one thing I did that also motivates me to do what I do as far as diversity and recruitment, and that's to explain how bad the demographics with the Worcester Police Department, as far as the patrol officers, compared to the city of Worcester. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but the city of Worcester is about 50% white, non-Hispanic. But if you come across to the lines of the patrol officers, it's about 75% white. Yeah, and only 7%. We have about 27 black or African American police officers and 30 female police officers.
Out of a force of
out
how
of
many?
392.
It's less than.
Yeah, like 7%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Less
to
than
me,
7%.
those numbers are atrocious. So I'm really trying to encourage all people of all colors to make sure that they apply, take
Sure.
the exam, step up, and try to make a difference. Because I've realized that when I was out in patrol, to me, I feel like the person who you're trying to help, if you can speak their language or if you look like them or anything like that, sometimes it helps them understand that, okay, this person who's a police officer who, I can idolize with them and maybe they can better suit me and help me in whatever situation I'm going through. So I definitely think it's very important for everyone.
Well, and the police aren't
So-
alone in this, right? You've
No,
got a lot
yeah.
of other professional fields, including the teaching corps, the
Teachers,
Worcester Public schools,
firefighters,
and
everybody.
And it's like, how do we help ensure that these great city jobs that impact their community,
Well-paying,
well-paying,
sustainable.
like that they reflect the community, right? And I
Yes.
imagine that kind of part of it is just them being aware of the opportunity exists and that it's attainable for them,
Yes.
right? It's not something that is something that's just for other kids from the other side of the city or whatever. So
It's
that
attainable.
comes down to
Attainable and honorable.
yes.
Yes.
What a great way of saying it. Yeah.
And you've demonstrated that today. And geez, I mean, we I don't think we thank our law enforcement officers enough.
Right.
So I'd like to thank you, for being here and for being out there in the city and protecting us and helping people like you shared how you did. So amazing.
I
really.
appreciate that. But I thank you guys for what you guys do as well. And I appreciate everybody.
Well, Officer Nebo, thank you for joining us on the
Jeff.
Work Lunch. Now I get the handshake. See that? Here we go.
Ow, that
you,
really
Brett.
hurt. Come on.
Well, for everyone, hope you've had a happy holidays. I think by the time this airs, it'll be after the holidays.
Wait,
so
I'll take
hope
my hat off.
Yeah, there we go.
Happy holidays.
So, and that's it for this month of the Work Lunch.
Thanks, everybody.
Can't